Hi, in this problem, we're being asked to graph this inequality. So we have y greater than 2 minus 3x. Let's go ahead and work through this solution. So whenever you're graphing inequalities, the way I do it is I always first graph the equality. So first, we're going to graph the equality, which is y equals 2 minus 3x. That's always the first step when I do these. So to graph this, you can do it a couple different ways. You can use the slope and the y-intercept, or you can just plug in numbers to find the x and y-intercepts. Let's do that. Let's find the x and y-intercepts. So I'll come over here and draw the y-axis, and here's the x-axis. So here's x, and here is y. And to find any intercept, you set the other one equal to 0. So to find the x-intercept, what you do is you set y equal to 0. So we're going to set y equal to 0. And then so we'll just put a 0 where the y is. So this is 0 equals 2 minus 3x. And then we can solve this for x. So we'll subtract 2 from both sides. So minus 2 minus 2. So we get minus 2 equals minus 3x. Again, to find the x-intercept, you set y equal to 0. And then just divide by negative 3. Divide by negative 3. So we get 2/3 equals x, which I'm going to write the other way because it's bothering me. So x equals 2/3. So when y equals 0, x is equal to 2/3. So you can write this as an ordered pair. This is 2/3, comma 0, just like that. So 2/3 is a little bit smaller than 1, which is 3/3. So here's 1. So 2/3 is going to be somewhere over here, maybe. So x is 2/3, y is 0. That's our first intercept. To find the y-intercept, it's a little bit easier. We set x equal to 0. Again, to find any intercept, you set the other one equal to 0. It's just a really easy way to memorize it. This is 2 minus 3 times 0. So 3 times 0 is 0, so you just get y equals 2. So we're up here, 1, 2, let's put a dot. Okay, now we just have to draw a line. But here's the thing, because it's a strict inequality, so by strict inequality, I mean one of these, we want to use a dotted line. If it's a weak inequality, so if it has an equal to part, we want to use a solid line. Okay, so, or you can call this a strong inequality if you prefer. If you have a strong inequality, use a dotted line. If you have a weak inequality, you use this. Or, if you have the equal to part, you want to use a solid line because our inequality allows for the case of equality, so a solid line is more appropriate. Anyways, in this case, that's not the case. So I'm going to use a pinkish magneta. I don't know what color this is. I made it up. It's a made up color. Dotted line. Okay, and now we have to decide where to shade. So in this case, because it's solved for y, the easiest way to do it is to think about it like this. This is the line y equals 2 minus 3x. Y is greater than this line, so we're going to shade above. And that's pretty much it. If it was less than, you would shade below. And that's the easiest way to do it. Another way to do it that also works, and that is more foolproof and will work in other types of problems, is to pick a test point. For example, let's test 0, 0. So 0, 0 is right here. Okay, it's important to know where it is. It's right in the origin. And we're going to use it as a test point on this inequality. So you plug in a 0 for the y and a 0 for the x. So we get 0 greater than 2 minus 0. So 0 greater than 2. That's not true. No, it's false. So because it's false and 0, 0 is here, we shade in the other piece. So this confirms our result. If it were true, we would shade down here. But because it's false, we shade in the region that does not contain this point. So it'll be up here. So this method always works, even if you have situations like, let's say, x squared plus y squared greater than 3. In this case, you can't really use the greater than or less than ID, like shade above or below. This is a circle. In this case, you would shade outside the circle. But you could also use the test point method, or we can make it even harder. So something like x cubed plus y squared greater than 3. And then in this case, you definitely probably want to use the test point method because it's harder to think about intuitively. So I hope this video has been helpful to you. Good luck.